Sports HQ as we return for more football. Joe Musso, Jonathan Jones, Brian McFadden, P2, here to delve in to all we saw, and we did see a return in the Motor City. Ben Johnson beginning his head coaching career a week ago with the Chicago Bears and taken back to the place he went that it all started in Detroit. Bears and Lions get most points in a game in franchise history, those 52 points. Since 1930, that dates back to. This was all sorts of calamity on the back end for the Bears, and the offense that came under question against the Green Bay Packers defense in week one. No such issues here in week two as Goff and the Lions roll. All right, 50 burgers in Lions history over the last two seasons, 3 times. And yes, you could thank Ben Johnson for some of that scheme in those first two, but the scheme is alive and well with Johnson in Chicago and the Lions on top. Back in studio with the guys as I will once again recuse myself from this conversation. But Brian McFadden, I'm interested in your thoughts here on, again, response in week two being the operative term for many teams coming off losses. Detroit, I'm not sure you could ask for much more if you're this offense going up against your former OC.
You know what? When we look at playoff caliber teams with championship aspirations and seeing a letdown in week one, we want to see a bounce back game for week two. If you claim to be that type of organization that has a sticky Lombardi aspirations, we need to see you bounce back. And that's what we saw of the Detroit Lions. Their offense looked like the offense that was under Ben Johnson. I mean, what they came out and did today was dominate from start to finish. Jared Goff was wheeling and dealing. Amon-Ra St. Brown was in his bag. Jamo Williams was in his bag. Jameer Gibbs, Sonic and Knuckles surfaced. They did not show up last week. They didn't have the cartridge for the disc, but they showed up today and they were playing from start to finish. And it was personal because, to your point, Ben Johnson was a part of the organization. And we know how competitive and how serious they look at these situations where coaches leave. They wanted to give them a good old-fashioned case of BTA, and they did so from start to finish. And I can tell you this much, when Jared Goff is at home, there at Ford Field, you better book him because he usually balls out inside the confines of their home stadium.
Another example of that, Pat, schematically, what did they do so well today? It felt like there were Lions running through and past zones all day long against this Bears defense.
They did what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And they got back into their bag. Yeah. I know this season it was all noted that Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, the coordinators are gone, but they found their niche today. And I don't know if it was because Ben Johnson was in the building today and they wanted to show him, oh, we still can do this thing. Yeah. And they went out there and put 51 points on a Chicago Bears defense. That's just embarrassing, first and foremost. When you
The starters were still in for Detroit.
Mm-hmm. And it didn't end poorly. Like, we're talking about a little revenge or whatever. It did not end poorly between Ben Johnson and the Detroit Lions. He could have left Detroit a couple of years before. Right. He did not. So everybody was cool. But you were coming off a game, if you're the Detroit Lions, after the Green Bay Packers whooped you in every phase of the game last week, right? And everybody's already crowning the Packers, and it may actually be warranted after what we saw on Thursday night as well. But you have these questions. Dan Campbell got asked in a press conference about what he was doing with these coordinators. He's like, it's been one game, guys. Hold on. Ben Johnson, he's really good, but we're pretty good ourselves. And so I don't think it was necessarily revenge. I don't think it was directed at Ben Johnson, but it was directed around Ben Johnson and everything that surrounds him.
Maybe at the greater NFL that we are still here and we are still dangerous as the Lions roll over the Bears, a no-doubter 50-plus points in their Week 2 win. Regulation to tie this game that was just all over the place in the second half. It was 20-plus points for each team in the fourth quarter. It was a big day for Russell Wilson. It was an ultimate mistake that offered Aubrey that chance at the end. It was all sorts of exciting. But the Giants fans start another season 0-2. Back in studio with the fellas where we will wax poetic about the foot of Brandon Aubrey, I am sure. But I got to start with Russell Wilson here, guys. 450 yards. 30 of 41, 3 touchdowns, and that decision at the end. Pat, we're sitting here wondering if it's going to be a tie, if Russ is going to lead the drive, or if Russ was going to do something like that, and he does that.
Oh, man. Russ had an awesome game going today. 400-plus yards. 2 touchdowns.
3
touchdowns. Finally got Neighbors in the game. I mean, he couldn't do anything wrong until
Attacking
that
vertically.
last drive. I mean, who was he throwing it to?
Malik, it was supposed to be Malik.
But it looked like he threw it straight to the Dallas Cowboys safety.
It sure did look
Wilson.
that way.
I mean, he just threw it up there for prayers. A bad decision by Russell Wilson. That's how the Giants end up losing this ball game ultimately.
And for me, I like to apologize to Russ because last week I felt like his well was dry. I feel like he didn't have any water left in the well, and today he had jugs of water for almost the entirety of the ball game. But to your point, you just got to be cautious. And our very own JJ, Jonathan Jones, said coaches don't like ties. For Ofer, you were still searching for that first win. I mean, Russ played outstanding. The Giants in totality played great football, but in the words of the great Bobby Bowden, before you learn how to win, you have to learn how not to lose.
Yeah.
And that's the issue for the Giants currently, and hopefully they can get that bad vibe out of the locker room.
This is going to make for an interesting suggestion box on the talk radio airwaves out here in the tri-state. How do you hack up the day here for Russell Wilson, who had his most passing yards of his career and a fatal flaw at the end of this game?
It was, you could really see it coming, and we could see that coming there in overtime. To expand on what BMAC was discussing, players and coaches hate ties, and for some reason, to me, a tie is not bad. It is certainly much better than a loss, but at some point, somebody wants to get out of that tie. They want to go out and go get that victory. And boy, 0-1-1 feels a whole lot better than 0-2 that the Giants are right now going back home. This is also a really long day for the New York Giants. Remember, they started at left tackle, James Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Who
100 yards of penalties?
100 yards worth of penalties on one drive. There were 4. We've never seen anything like it. They benched him immediately. The Giants get Andrew Thomas back. We did see Jackson Dart. This is how long of a day it's been for the Giants. Jackson Dart actually got his taste of NFL football. He got in for a couple of plays, and they sprinkled it in, and there you go. It'll still be Russell Wilson's show in Week 3.
Hate is a strong word, but on the list of things that we dislike in football, ties may be on there, and oftentimes the kickers are as well. But Mac, you just read off the distances of Brandon Aubrey kicks. When you have a guy like that you know you can count on, you get to midfield and you essentially have points. What sort of luxury is that, especially in these game-winning moments for a team like Dallas?
That's always like having the answer to a test. It doesn't matter when the test is going to be presented to you. You know you have an answer. And that's who Brandon Aubrey is, especially anytime you get near midfield. I'll say this right now, guys, and I'll say this with conviction. Brandon Aubrey is the best non-quarterback offensive player in the National Football League because of that fear that he provides. If you're playing against the Dallas Cowboys, you have to protect midfield. You all knew he was going to make it. If you were rooting for the Dallas Cowboys or if you were rooting for the Giants, if you didn't have a dog in the race, you knew this was good. I mean, he's one of the best offensive weapons we've ever seen in terms of his position and how consistent he's been. And how many times has he won ball games for the Dallas Cowboys in his early career? Outstanding day for Brandon Aubrey, and they needed him, and he delivered.
He is so much better than whoever the second best kicker in the NFL is, right? There's a huge gap and delta there. That's incredible. Also, with the new rule, with the new kickoff rules, if it's a touchback, you get it out at the 35.
Okay.
The Dallas Cowboys need one first down. And they can get 3 points. That is the weapon he is.
It's Curry range. You got to guard him when he's in the stadium because he's been spectacular and he's a winning piece once again here. Pat, when we look at the Cowboys through 2 weeks, it was the 0-1 start, but we loved some of the stuff we saw from Dak Prescott. Here they're in a divisional war with the New York Giants. How do you grade out the Giants the Dallas Cowboys through 2 weeks?
I give them a solid B. Honestly, they should have won the Philadelphia Eagles game. Dak played outstanding, delivered the ball all over the yard. Wish CeeDee Lamb would have caught a couple of those passes. Who knows what would have happened.